I march because we have to get off the couch and speak out by either walking or making ourselves known about what matters in the world. Otherwise, we're complicit. And so I think we need to stand up and walk and say things. Theologically, I think it's like putting legs on our prayers. It's easy to pray, but you got to walk the talk.
I march for equality because it's good for me and my future and the women that I care about.
I'm marching for love and against hatred. I'm marching for the women in my life who have been violated. I wish I could say that it's only a few, but the number's growing daily. I march for the missing and murdered Indigenous women, and I'm marching because sitting on the sidelines is no longer an option.
I'm marching because this is a turning point in history. We have to make this a permanent change in our culture, and that's going to take all of us.
I march because I want the future daughters to have a better world.
I march because I was a journalism student in the 70s when the women's movement was just starting, and I was very involved then, as young women tend to be, and it's just stayed with me. The injustices, the inequities are still with us, and so I march in the hope that one day we really will have absolute equality.
I march because we're all in this together, and I honestly can't believe the situation we found ourselves in, and the work that needs to be done to reconcile and make the world whole is something that we all need to do, men and women. So I stand with the women in my life, my mom, my daughter, and my wife in marching at the Women's March.
I march because it's a way of having solidarity with other people. It's a way of showing the people who haven't joined us yet that we're here and we're willing to stand up for what we believe. And it's a way of standing on a piece of ground and saying, this is mine and I shall not be moved.
Because I have daughters and now granddaughters, and I can't believe so many of the issues we are still dealing with that we were when I was a young woman and when I was at university, and unless we stand up and get out there and do something about it, it's going to continue.
I march because women matter to me. I think women who suffer injustices need to know that we all stand together. I marched in Phoenix last spring with my daughter and my granddaughter, and I marched because I wanted them to know that it isn't just a young woman's issue. It's an issue for all of us.
I march because there's so much work to do and it'll never be done, and the only rights that are really ours are the ones that we're willing to insist on in every generation. It's the most energizing and inspiring thing I can do to keep myself going.
I march because I can. I march because I feel like we need to. I have a daughter and I have two sons, and I want to make sure that my daughter has the same opportunities, the same safeties, securities, and chances to do what she wants to do that my sons do.
I march because change is about energy. It's about energy, people, and connections. And one of the ways you experience that is by getting together with people you don't know in support of a cause that you think can make a difference on the planet.
Because we're all connected, and because change takes everyone, not just those who have challenges or are struggling, but those who have lots. And if we don't all come together and we don't all connect, change is never going to happen.
I march because I'm particularly interested in supporting those involved in the murdered and missing Aboriginal women. And I'm aware that many of those women who have gone missing have been unrecognized, lived on the edges of society, may well have been outcasts in our world, and we need to march for women and speak for them and speak as if we know how the world can be a better place.
I march for equality because we're all people.
I march and am marching because I'm 75 and I remember Gloria Steinem and I remember Betty Friedan, and I had a t-shirt in the 1970s saying, "A woman without a man is like a fish without a bicycle." That's why I'm marching.
I march for my mother and father today. My mother was a fiercely independent woman who raised her children to make their own choices and be responsible for them, and for my father, who fiercely supported his wife and daughters in whatever those choices were.
Because I believe that all life matters. I march because I have strong opinions and I want to demonstrate to people where I stand on this issue.
I march because I want to stand up and say that I believe in the thing I'm marching for. I want people to identify me and to identify people like me, the people that I represent, as supporting the cause that I march for.
So for me, it's about getting off the couch and in the street and saying this matters to me. So I'll be there with Charlotte and you and anybody else who wants to come to say this matters, people matter, and justice matters.